The Torah tells us in the book of Dvarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 23, beginning of verse 3. It's dealing with forbidden and restricted marriages. A mamzer is illegitimate child, can be a relation with married woman, other cases like that. A mamzer shall not enter the congregation of God. Even his 10th generation shall not enter the congregation of God. So what does that mean, not enter? If there is a mamzer, if there is someone who's illegitimate, can we find a way for that person, him or her, to marry with someone in a similar status, etc.? Another subject, the Torah said, which come close to festival of Shavuot, an Ammonite and Moabite shall not enter the congregation of God. So here the Torah speaks about male, Ammoni, Moavi. We don't know today who are they, but it's important for our discussion, even in 10 generations. Here they said for eternity. And the Torah explained why. And then the Torah said, when it's come to Adomites or Egyptians, it's up to the 3rd generation. They said, children who are born to them in the 3rd generation may enter the congregation of God. So the subject today, the first subject, is called Psulei Yuchasim. When you have an issue of flow lineage, we are not sure about who are the parents, then we challenge that. Such as a child was found like in the third world in the trash. For example, a child that is unknown who is his or her father, mother, or both. How you treated special people who convert from those special segments. So this is part of our discussion. Marry between, for example, convert and those type of category. We treated them in a way with a lot of love, the convert. By the same token, there are certain limitations, such as marry with a Kohen, marry with a people who carry mamzerut, how and what. Also, we're going to discuss the subject of ne'emanut. Ne'emanut, how far you go with the beliefs in a matter of trust with certain testimony for certain people. For example, situation that a child that neither father nor mother was found, and someone bring it before us. How you trust? Those days when it was a great poverty, you find a child outside of a synagogue. Do you treat it differently? You find a child in the good condition versus in a poor condition. How far you speak about poverty or the caring for the mother, embarrassment, maybe the mother was underage. How far you go with ne'emanut, with the trust. Another one is the meyaledet, the delivery room nurse, the one who's staying with the mother while she delivers a child. So the question is, in those days, obviously, it's before the DNA and before other sources. So do you take her words as long as she's in the room, she didn't left the room? Or according to Rabbi Yehuda, only when she turned her face, and etc. How far you trust the chaya, the one who delivered the child, as far as a first birth? Who is the first? Who is the second? When it's come to question of Kohen, Levi, and Israel, soon you see who is first, who is second. Also, when it's come to ritual impurity, when it's pure, when it's not, all these questions come up in our discussions, as well as asufi, as we said. If someone, it's clear that she left the child because of lack of money to raise the child, or other crisis, When do you say that the child is total asufi, which means that is unidentified in any manner, and when you said it's not? So we are going to study page 73 in Tractate Kiddushin. We start with 72b, 3 lines from the bottom of the page. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbi teaches in a Tosefta, in a Braita, Ger nose mamzeret, a convert may marry a mamzeret, and obviously the other way around, mamzer can marry a convert. The reason, the Gemara explained, the reason of Rabbi Yossi, it's because the quote we just mentioned in Deuteronomy 23 verse 3, Lo yavo mamzer, mamzer should not enter the congregation of the Lord. So he hold that the convert is not considering Kehal Hashem. דברי רבי יוסי, רבי יהודה אומר גר לא יישא ממזרת. He said that it is called קהל השם. אחד גר ואחד עבד משוחרר וחלל. Either if it's a convert or released slave or halal. We explain halal is a child that was born in the illegitimate relation between the kohen and grusha or chalutza. Mutarim bekohenet. So the daughter of Kohen, they allow. So that's applied to Kohanim, Mishnah in Yevamot 61, and not the daughter of Kohanim. Maita amad Rabbi Yossi. Why Rabbi Yossi allow girl to marry mamzeret? So the answer is Chamisha kehalei ktiv. The Torah mentioned 5 congregation are written, meaning the word congregation appears 5 times in the Torah with regard to various people of low lineage who are prohibited from entering the congregation of God. So even the word kahal, it's written also in ptsua daka, someone who is born with testosterone deficits, that's Deuteronomy 22. But here, the Gemara said we deal solely according to Rashi and also Tosfot in psulei uchasim, the one who have unflow lineage. And there's a discussion among the poskim, among the contemporary rabbi, if someone as a result of surgery turned to be a ptsua daka, which means his capability of having children is limited, etc., as long as he was not born with that, it's 2 different categories based on this Gemara. 73. So since the Torah can write all the list of those who are not unflow psulei uchasin in one warning and not written that way, so Rashi explained, we derive from each of them differently. Chad, one time it's written the word kahal, meaning congregation. Lechohanim, the prohibition of mamzerim, marry with kohanim. V'chad lilviyim, and one to prohibited them to Levites. V'chad leyisraelim, one to Levite. Others, the Tosfot Rosh said, you may think that mamzerim was not prohibited to Israelim, so that's the reason. And the 4th one, v'chad lemishrei mamzer bishtuki, or mamzeret, Rashi said, that they allow mamzer or mamzeret to marry eshtuki, which means we do not know who is the father, as we learn in page 69, the one that said, this is my father, and the mother said, keep quiet, which means the father is unknown. And the 5th one, v'chad lemishrei shtuki b'Yisrael, which means, the way Tosfot explained, that mamzer independently will not derive safek mamzer. So since the word kahal, congregation, it's come to teach us safek mamzer, so therefore it means that it's only the ruling here applies to someone that is total mamzer, but not someone that we are in a uncertain situation. Kahal gerim lo keikre kahal. Now the Gemara elaborates and explains the view of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda kohanim ulviyim mechad kahal nafkei. Rabbi Yehuda hold that the kohanim and the Levites he's come from one tribe, which is the tribe of Levi. So you cannot call half of the tribe the word kahal, the word congregation. So it means itar lei likhal geirim. So you derive from that the idea of the congregation of converts, that and deem it prohibited for a mamzer to enter the congregation as well. The iba'i teima is another option, and here the Gemara said hanena metrei kehalei ninhu. So I explained my book on Rashi. Rashi said, klomar lehanach tartei drashot trei krai itz terichu. So Rashi have an issue of why we need the two psukim. So Rashi, and the way that I see it after studying the Rambam and the Ramban and the Rashba and the Ran, the whole question if it's feika deoraita lekula or lechumra. That's also the Pnei Yoshua. So the idea is when you have feika deoraita, and that's you see also the Ma'arit, when there's a feika deoraita lechumra, you go that way. But if it's lekula, which means that since you're not 100% sure how you treat it, you go by only the rabbinic view over something that is uncertain by the biblical terms. You can read more in the book. So anyway, they said mamzer b'shtuki, shtuki b'Yisrael mechad kahal nafka, mechad kra nafka, לא יבוא ממזר בקהל השם. ממזר ודאי דלא יבוא, אבל ממזר ספק יבוא. בקהל ודאי לא יבוא, הבקהל ספק יבוא. So the idea is, you have to differentiate between someone that you have no doubt that he is mamzer versus someone that you are uncertain. The same applies to a situation of shtuki, that only someone that you are definite, but not someone that you are not sure. So therefore, you see in the view of Rabbi Yehuda, one word kahal, one statement of congregation that looks superfluous, and we derive from that the kahal geirim, the congregation of convert, is considering kahal. So therefore, mamzer cannot marry with them. The iba'it eima, the third view that explaining Rabbi Yehuda, haneinamei trei kehalei ninhu. These two, one who is definite mamzer and one who is mamzer as a result of uncertainty, are two congregations, each requiring its own pasuk. V't'amei de Rabbi Yehuda mehacha, and the reason for Rabbi Yehuda is from here. Hakahal chuka achat lachem v'lager hagar. As the congregation, there shall be one status for both of you, and for the stranger that sojourn with you. That's the Torah in the book of Numbers, chapter 15, which indicates that converts are considered like regular fellow Israel with regard to their being included in the category of quote-unquote congregation. ולרבי יוסי, חוקה אחת הפסיק העניין. According to Rabbi Yossi, who hold that convert may marry a mamzeret, the phrase one status interpreted the matter, and convert are not considered part of the congregation of God. Then the Gemara said, the end of the Braita from 72b, אחד גר ואחד עבד משוחרר וחלל מותרים בכהנת, which means a convert and one slave that is not released, and halal, as we said, permitted to marry a daughter of Kohen. מסייע לרב, אמר רב יהודה, אמר רב, לא הוזרו כשרות להינשא לפסולים. He said that if you have a woman of come from Kohanic families who are not permitted, not prohibited, by Torah for marrying those unfit Kohanim. For example, if you have the daughter of Kohanim, are not forbidden to marry men whose own daughters will be forbidden to Kohanim. So, דרש רב זרע במחוזה, גר מומתר בממזרת. That's follow Rabbi Yossi. He said that the convert permitted to marry a mamzeret. they said, Ragmu kuleama betrogayu. So, since במחוזה it was a lot of convert, so they took their etrog and they throw it on him. So, Marav Amiika Darish Milta ki Aibeduchta Deshchichi Giori. It's proper to say that Rava was the one in charge of Mechoza in Ktubot 105. So, is that proper? So, the whole question is how you treated this type of things. The Mahari Asad, he bring Gemara in Tractate Sukkah, the famous story about the Kohanim, and they did Nisu Hamayim, they do the water libation, and they ragmu be'etrogim, and they throw etrogim on them, etc. So the point, Mahari Asad said beautifully, he says, look, the converts have a serious claim. They said, look, we left all this Gashmiyut, all this materialistic world, for the world of truth, the world of spirituality. And therefore, what's the concept of etrog? Etrog is another cistern, is another fruit, right? But we sanctify the etrog and make him, which call kli oseh mitzvah. We make him a vessel to perform mitzvah. So if you treated us as a convert in that manner, therefore you in a way have no value to the etrog. Is a book by the Magnate Tzedek. It was a great rabbi in Europe. So he dealt with a group of people that called Sabotnikes. Sabotnikes was a small group in Europe, the non-Jews that observe only Shabbat. When I studied, I was thinking about the seven, what is called? Adventists. Yes. So one of them converted and he married Jew. And the Magnate Tzedek asked a question, how far you go with this? They have some manner of Judaism or not? Because he claimed in his long responsa, they found a Siddur, they found a prayer book among them that goes back 300 years ago. So he had a long talk about their lineage. Anyway, so דרש רבה במחוזה, גר מותר בכהנת. טענו בשיראי. So, he said such a thing, so the people of Mechoza loaded him with fine silks. They are very happy with him. הדר דרש לו גר מותר בממזרת. So he figured out if they take this halacha, they take the other halacha. So he said they allowed to marry mamzeret. Oh, now it's different. Hadar, so אמרו לו יפסיד את הלקמייתא. Give back all the gift we gave you. אמר לו, דתבה לכו אבידי לכו, היא באה מאח הנסיב, היא באה מאח הנסיב. I'm nice with you. I tell you whatever you want. You want to marry here the daughter of Kohanim, you do it. You want to marry mamzerot, you can do it. והלכתה, in the halacha, גר מותר בכהנת ומותר בממזרת. A convert is permitted to marry kohanet and is also permitted to marry ממזרת. לא הוזרו כשרות להינשא לפסולים. Only it is permitted for a convert to marry the daughter of Kohanim, since women of unflawed lineage were not prohibited from marrying those disqualified from priesthood. ומותר בממזרת כרבי יוסי. It's permitted for him to marry ממזרת. Follow the rule of Rabbi Yossi, who holds that the congregation of the convert is not called congregation. So you have the Ramban and you have the Rashba that said that Tzveika Deoraita lechumra. When you have something that is uncertain by the Torah law, you go stringent. And you have the Rambam. The Rambam said that biblically speaking, it's when you come to Sfek Deoraita, you go lekula. The only idea is the Rabbanan is coming in and says that you should go lechumra. So, but not everyone goes along with this. This Shev Shmateta, you have Shev Shmateta was so ingenious that he started writing his book before he was bar mitzvah. But anyway, the Shev Shmateta explained this Rambam at length, and he bring the Ramban and bring a proof from our sugya that if you have someone who's a safek mamzer, who's uncertain to be mamzer, so he allowed to enter the congregation of God. So therefore, Shtuki, he allowed to marry Yisrael according to thy. Why? Because he said, Sfeika d'oraita, biblically speaking, so he go lekula, because he says only the Rabbanon make it lechumra. So they ask a question, why, if that's the case, so Shem Shmata ask and others, why you need here limud miyuchad, why you need a special, if it's something that is general rules. So he explained, the Maharit explained, and I brought it also in my book. So if you have Reuven and Shimon, and you have a safek, you have uncertain Reuven, who exactly the father is, how you treat it. Take for example Shtuki. Imagine a situation, the Maharit said, that Shtuki married 2 women. Right? Those days was no Cherem Rabban Gershom, etc. So he married 2. One is regular and one mamzeret. Now, how you treat it? If you tell me that he is unflawed, so he's prohibited to one. If he's flawed, he's prohibited the others. So the Maharit said, based on this Rambam, that if you tell me Sfeika d'oraita lekula, so if he's a safek mamzer, he doesn't have an issue to live with kshera or to live with mamzeret. The only prohibited part, according to this Rambam, is isur mamzer vadai, if someone is clear that he is mamzer. So the Mishnah said, Elu hen shtuki. Now he elaborates on the concept of shtuki. What exactly you mean to say shtuki? They said, kol shemakir. If there are one who knows the identity of his mother, but does not know the identity of his father. Amar Rava, Dvar Torah, Shtuki kasher. Even we don't know whom the mother have relations, but he can marry with a regular one. Mai tama. Why? So, because it may be that the one who cohabited with his mother did it while she is in violations, and then it's isur karet, and therefore he is mamzer. So he said, Rov ksherim etzla, umiut psulim etzla. Most men are fit to engage in intercourse with unmarried women, and only minority are unfit with regard to engage in intercourse with her. So there are few men who are related to a woman in a way that will render their offspring mamzerim. Ve'i az le'inhu legaba, if you go that way, call the parish meruba parish. Anything that's separated from its fixed location is presumed to have separated from the majority of items like this. So they said, my amount, what's the reason you want to invalidate the baby? Dilma az la'i legabayu. Maybe she went to one who cohabited with her. Hava lekavua, v'chol kavua kemechza al machza dame. Anything that fix is like 50%, and it's remain in a case of uncertainty, and it should be prohibited for the shtuki to marry a Jew with unflawed lineage. והתורה אמרה, the Torah said in Deuteronomy 23, לא יבוא ממזר, ממזר ודאי הוא דלא יבוא, הממזר ספק יבוא. The Torah said that the mamzer shall not enter. So it's a definite mamzer may not enter. But one who is mamzer as a result of uncertainty may enter. Bikal, in a congregation, ודאי הוא דלא יבוא. הביקל ספק יבוא. So therefore mamzer can marry shtukit. מהי טעם אמרו shtuki pasul. So what's the reason that we said that shtuki is prohibited to marry a regular bat Israel? So they said gzera shema yisa achoto me'aviv. This is a rabbinic decree that he marry his paternal sister, which means may the father is also the father of the sister of shtukit. So therefore you cannot allow the one shtuki marry the other sister. Ki kol hani mezanu ve'azli. Ela me'ata shtuki shtukit lo yisa. Shema yisa choto me'aviv ki kol yachal mezane ve'azli. They say that all such men continue to perform promiscuous acts, and father more children out of wedlock. So they said, בת שתוקית לא יישא, שמא יישא אחותו מאביו. So the shtukit should not be permitted to marry a daughter of shtukit. Why? Because he married his paternal sister. אלא לא שכיחה. You have to say that this is something that is so uncommon that you not go to that direction. So they said, if that's the case, האחרונה לא שכיחה. So you go back to our question, why the sages prohibited shtuki to marry a regular woman? אלא מעלה עשו ביוחסי. So you said that they make a high standard when it's come to lineage. So it's a discussion among the poskim how you treated cases when you are not sure who the fathers is. Now you see the idea of הקפדה בייחוס, why people are so strict when it's come to a lineage. The Torah said pri etz hadar, the fruits from the tree. So etrog, you try to find the yichus, which means which pardes, which field the etrog comes. The same apply to shidduchim. If a person can, he check where's the source. Like the famous statement that bodkim be'acheahem, check the brothers of the mother. So, but there's this notion that obviously you have also to check the person himself as well. So it's always the balance between what's more important, the yichus or the person, and obviously we say that as much as yichus is important, but the person himself is also need to develop his personality. I just want to add a personal statement. When I was bar mitzvah, I prepared 2 speeches. One in the Bet Knesset HaGadol, the great synagogue. My father was the Rav there. So it was a regular Shulchan Aruch, Kafchet, Hilchot Tefillin. That was the bar mitzvah speech. Then we have in the outside auditorium, there's a huge place, we have the Kiddush, and people from all different shuls came. So it was unbelievable, huge crowd. And obviously, when you have this type of crowd, you can't give a big speech. So my father was disturbed that they eating, drinking, and everything is a meal, and they sing something, but nobody can hear anybody. So I remember I said to Dad, okay, I have extemporaneous speech. So I stood up on a chair, and then they put another chair so they can see me. And then somehow they kept quiet. It was a huge audience, and I said, look, the Parshat Vayetze, that was my Parsha. So I said, they said about Avraham that he dig a well. And they said, and Yitzchak dig a well, and Yaakov dig a well. So I said, why each of them need to dig his well? I said, even each of them said, I have my father, I have my grandfather. They build themselves independently. So I said, Baruch Hashem, I'm blessed with a good yichus. My grandfather was the Zidichover Rebbe, and the other grandfather was the Stretiner Rebbe. And Baruch Hashem, I'm son after son to Noam Elimelech. But I said, all of that is good and well. The person needs to build himself independently, not to depend on those before. Those before, for sure, we said Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, but we had to dig our own well. Anyway, ואמר רב, הדבר תורה הסופי כשר. מה טעמה? Why the Torah is not concerned that Asufi came from Eshet Ish, from a married woman that have affair. Eshet Ish beba'alat Tola. We assume that maybe you have percentage, you have possibility that she have promiscuous act and she have a illegitimate child. But the idea is to say that the mother did such a thing that she throw the child out as a Sufi. It's not because you assume that most of the relation would go by the husband. מהי איכא מיעוט ארוסות ומיעוט שהלך בעליהם למדינת הים. You have the minority that the distance ripped them apart because he is overseas, etc. for a long time. כיוון דאיקה פנויה ואיקה נמי דמחמת רעבון, פלגה ופלגה, this is very painful, so take a deep breath and listen carefully. Here, first of all, you have to remain the mindset that people live in such a poverty. So you have this poor indigent woman that she feels she cannot by any means raise the baby. So therefore, she put him there. Or the mother was a minor was underage, a single one, that not underage, but single mother. It's not like today. So in a sense, you have here palga or palga. You have here, in a sense, double doubt. Why? Because you have a question if he's asufi, or that mamzer, or he's okay, he's kasher. So it's mechza al mechza, it's a half and a half. Maybe he was born for one who engaged, and someone that when the husband went to China, etc., and therefore the child is mamzer. Or maybe he was born to a single mother, or the mother just put him there because it was such a poverty and she cannot have the child. והתורה אמרה לו, יבוא ממזר בקהל השם. So what do you derive from that? ממזר ודאי הוא דלא יבוא. If you are sure that he is ממזר, then he cannot enter the congregation of the Lord. ממזר ספק, if it's a question, for example, אסופי, יבוא, because you're not sure, you're uncertain. בקהל הוא דלא יבוא. When it's come to enter the congregation, so if it's clear ממזר, that's different. בקהל ספק יבוא. But it's uncertain, shtuki or asufi, you let him in. So they said, Umay tam amru asufi pasul. So why they said that asufi is invalid, forbidden to marry an Israelite of unblemished lineage? Shemaisa achoto me'aviv, because he maybe married his paternal sister. Why? Because maybe his father married another woman, and she have this baby, and he turns in unknown situations before DNA, etc., that he marry, which is prohibited, the sister of his father, which means like half-step sister, right, which is prohibited. That's the way the Pnei Yoshua and Marsha also explain. But anyway, אלא מעתה אסופי, אסופית לא יישא. שמא יישא אחותו, בין מאביו בין מאמו. So therefore, asufi cannot marry asufit because it can turn not just from one. Parents can be from both. So they said, unfortunately, all this that throw the child to assume that they are all come from one mother, it's very uncommon. It's something that it's far to think that way. But asufit lo isa shema isa achoto, because as we said, because the father of asufi married and have a child, daughter, that's, concerned, but elo lo shchiach, hachanam lo shchiach. You have to say that since it's so uncommon, so here you said also, you don't put the degree that is so uncommon, ela ma'ala asu biyuchasim. As we said, the sages establish a higher standard with regard to lineage, and therefore it's prohibited for people from unknown background to marry those who are unflawed lineage. And the Rambam elaborates and said that if it's a safek isur, it's different than something that is vadai. Now, bring some signals, some sign to know when you have asufi. Amar Rava bar Ravuna. Imagine a situation, you find in a trash can, God forbid, a baby, but the baby have a circumcision. Metza'o mahul. 73b, ein bo mishum asufi. The idea is that is nothing for him because he's an asufi. His abandoned condition does not dictate that he's classified, Rashi said, as asufi. Meshaltei hadmei. So if you look at his limb and his limb straight, obviously there is a process, right? With ein bo mishum asufi. Because if he was asufi, the mother will not bother to do that, to straight because if the mother intend, like in the third world, to throw the baby to a trash, So why she need to fix his back? And so you have to say that she threw him away because it was such a poverty. Shayef mishcha, if you see the baby with massage with oil, umalak kuchla, and if you see the powder around the eyes, that show that he's beautiful, right? Remei chumrei, or you see like they used to do those days, nuts of herbs tied around him. Tlei pitka, or he has this amulet hanging around him. Utlei kmi'a ein bo mishum asufi, because you have to agree that the mother have compassion on the baby, and she not throw him to die. So therefore is not pasul, is not invalid, and he allowed to marry a regular Bat Israel. Tlei bedike, but if it was found in a basket suspended from a palm tree, so it all depends. Imatyalev chaya, if the bad animal, wild animal can bite him, so yesh bo mishum asufi, v'ilav en bo mishum asufi. Zar deta, it's a sorb tree near the city. Smicha lemata, yesh bo mishum asufi, v'ilav en bo mishum asufi. Beik nishta smicha lemata, if you found the baby in a synagogue outside near the city that people usually found it, so ushchiche berabim en bo mishum asufi, v'im lav yesh bo mishum asufi. So the assumption is she throw him there, so they take care of him. Amar HaMeimar, hai pera de sufle, yesh bo mishum asufi. If you have the ditch used for storing date peels, so it's considered as sufi. Pishrei, yesh bo mishum asufi. So again, you go by the close to the river, it's asufi. Tzidei reshut harabim. If you find him in the sides of a public domain, ein bo mishum asufi. Reshut harabim, but if it's a discovery in the middle of a public domain, yesh bo mishum asufi. Now we go more in a sense of those signs that the baby is asufi. They said, Amar Rava ubishnei re'avon. Rava said, you know, if you talk about the year of those poverty years, famine years, ein bo mishum asufi. Had Rava aheya. What he meant? He meant to match it with what we said earlier in Reshut Harabim, in a public domain. So it means that the famine years will mother kill him by placing him in a place that he is likely to be trampled. She put him in the sides of the public domain. Why specifically mention famine year? Even when it is not famine year, the child was placed in a safe location where he was likely to be found. אלא כי איתמר דרבה, אחא דאמר רב יהודה אמר רבי אבא אמר רבי יהודה בר זבדי אמר רב, כל זמן שבשוק, אביו ואמו נאמנים עליו. He says, as long as the abandoned child is still in the marketplace, so you assume that the father and mother are deemed credible with regard to him, when they later claim that the child is there as there. מה איתמה? אמר רבא הואיל ויצא עליו שם הסופי. ואמר רבא ובשני רעבון, the year of famine, אף על פי שנאסף מן השוק, אביו ואמו נאמנים עליו. Because the sages did not want to abrogate so many babies as Sufi in those years of famine. So his father and mother are still believed to say that this is their child. That's the way Rashi said. The Rambam in Ilchot Yisroel Biyah, chapter 15, said the idea that in those famine years we assume that the parents kept quiet because they want someone else to adopt the baby, to take care of the baby. So therefore, because of that, the sages said that if someone who collected from the marketplace, the parents, Rambam said, still trust to say that it's their child. אמר רב חיסדא שלושה נאמנים לאלתר. Rav Chisda said that there are three persons believe only when testifying immediately. So, which means that nobody else can take the baby. It says, ואלו הן אסופי, חיה ופוטרת חברותיה. So, number one is the founding, the midwife, and one who exempt her friends from uncertain impurity. Asufi ude amaran, which means the founding child, as we said, that his parents can testify with regard to his lineage before he is collected from the marketplace. Chaya, the midwife, the Tanya, we learn in the Braita. Chaya meyaledet, Chaya נאמנת לומר, זה יצא ראשון וזה יצא שני. A midwife is believed when she states about the newborn twins, this one emerged first and this one emerged second. We can trust, as Rashi said, is the difference when it's come to law of inheritance. במה דברים אמורים שלא יצאה וחזרה? All of that, remember, this is before DNA. So it's, the midwife did not left the room and come back. I said, אבל יצאה וחזרה, or if she left, even though she returned, אינה נאמנת, she is not believed. Because we don't know who is the first one. Because they are twin, the Taz said in Eben Haezer, and they look the same. So you need to know very clearly a distinction between the two. So, because easy you can mix between them, the Taz said. רבי אליעזר אומר, הוחזקה או לומדה נאמנת ואם לאו אינה עומדנת. Rabbi Dr said, if she remain steadfastly in her position, she is believed. Otherwise not. מהי בניו? What's the difference between the two? איכא בניו דהדר הפעה. That the midwife turned her head aside after the birth. So according to Rabbi Eliezer, she is no longer deemed credible, despite having remained in the room. The third one, פוטרת חברותיה מהי. In the case of one who exempt her friends, so we learn, this is in the Tractate Nida, Mishnah, page 60b. שלוש נשים שהיו ישנות במיטה אחת. You have three women who are sleeping in one bed. ונמצא דם תחת אחת מהן. And the blood was found beneath one of them. So, כולן טמאות. They are all deemed impure as menstruating women, as it's not known from which of them the blood came. בדקה אחת מהם ונמצאת טמאה. If one of them, she saw that she is masturbating and she's bleeding, so she is impure, and therefore, היא טמאה וכולן טהורות. She is impure and all the others are pure. ואמר רב חיסדא שבדקה עצמה כשיעור וסת. He said, Rav Chisda said that she can exempt the others from tum'ah only if she exempt herself shiur vesed, which means that it was immediate. That's the Gemara in Nida, page 14b, said that if the ed, the bud, she check it right away when she see the ketem, and Chatam Sofer explained that that's the measure of time is crucial. I'd like to conclude with a responsa. It was a great religious professor in Yerushalayim, whose name is Professor Avraham. And he asked my teacher and my mentor, Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, he asked him a question. You have two babies, this is before DNA, that was mixed. And what do you do now? Can you trust the blood, the check of the blood? You have the kodam, you have the check of the blood. And therefore, can you go by that to say that this is first, this is second? So Rav Auerbach said that if Rov HaOlam, if the measurement of the general secular world, they trust the blood tests, so even it's a far-fetched regard, as we said, that נישואי אח ואחות, but in general, you can go with that measurement. For sure, each case is different. But as we said, that as far as the shalosh ne'emanot, this is the derivative from this discussion of Chisda, that we have three categories of trust. You have the trust of Asufi, Chaya, and Poteret Chavrotea.